Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, is a very excited man in a That's So Craven t-shirt, Mr. Shane Beauregard. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I love that t-shirt idea.
Yeah. Well, it'll probably take you a year if you're like me, because I finally got my Furious Jumping shirt in the mail, and it looks glorious. So, get your goals together is all I got to say. Don't wait for the New Year's resolution to do it in December. So, or wait for Black Friday or whatever the hell I did. So, I also I have to say this because, man, it is the end of an era, Shane. Right before KRAVEN came out, I think they announced that it's the end of the Sony MCU for now.
Yes, I did see that. Quite the coincidence.
Yeah, right. Will you be pitching your spin-off, Keeping Up with the Kravanaghs, as like a nice kind of, it's either be like pseudo-reality, like fake documentary type of stuff? I'm thinking it should go well.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm down for it.
Yeah, because so many good characters in here. I mean, it's such a good family to work off of. Although, would you try to pitch it before how the end of this movie went?
Oh, absolutely.
You'd have to go back a few years?
I have to go back a few years. Like the teenage years. You know what I mean? That block of time.
So before he gets powers, then?
Yeah. Well, kind of like when he disappeared. You know what I mean? We'll get into it. Like the time block he was gone, I guess. Well, his beginning of his powers, I guess.
Which, by the way, my parents somehow need to right now get a very good outpost with like a full glass yurt or whatever the hell he had going on there. What would you call that spread, that like that kind of glass house that he had?
It's very spherical. So like, I don't know what you'd call it though, but like what'd you say? What'd you call it?
Yeah, you ever seen like a yurt where it looks almost like a teepee in the sky that you can like kind of stay out and rent or whatever, where it's like very warm inside because of what they make it out of and all that stuff.
We'll
it's
go
like
with
that.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Except this is all glass. So I'm sure there's a term, but I don't have it, for God's sakes. But in this episode, Shane, we are going to cover, as we noted, the end of the Sony MCU with KRAVEN the Hunter that just came out over the weekend, a movie directed by J.C. Shandor, who I've seen most of his good movies. We'll determine whether this is one of them to add to the mantle. We will also cover, mostly getting your reaction, Shane, to my reaction already on paper for Carry On, the latest Netflix original film to come out starring Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman, amongst others. And then I caught up with the Gotham Awards Best Picture winner, A Different Man, starring Sebastian Stan. And, oh, man, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she is gorgeous and wonderful from The Worst Person in the World. Renee Brunsif, something like that. It's very Swedish or whatever the hell she is. So we'll try that. And then we'll talk a few movies that I caught up with maybe that you had previously reviewed on this podcast. And you also caught No Good Deeds on Netflix, which that just came out over the weekend
just came out Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so we are all over Netflix amongst everything else. So we will cover the weekend that was. And let's start with KRAVEN, buddy. This was the last one on your list, correct?
This was it.
So congratulations, you're all caught up. It only took till December, whatever day you saw it, mid-December, however you want to play it. And it's already been such a long December, not to get counting crows on you real quick, but like it's, watching a lot of stuff, catching up with a lot of stuff, but like the stuff in the theaters, I don't know. Like I feel like we had one good one, maybe?
Yeah, so far,
because the order was excellent. So I don't know if I'm forgetting something else, and then this weekend will be Mufasa and Sonic. So I'll be in Sonic 3. So everyone said your prayers. And then Christmas Day will be excellent.
Yes.
Hopefully with Nosferatu, A Complete Unknown, and Baby Girl. But for right now, all we have to do is focusing on KRAVEN. And KRAVEN was your last entry here, as I noted, directed by J.C. Chandor, who did movies like Margin Call, Triple Frontier, or A Most Violent Year, which I think is actually his best movie. This stars Aaron Taylor Johnson as the titular KRAVEN the Hunter, alongside Ariana DeBose, Oscar winner.
Yes,
Ariana DeBose.
I know. I remember her this time. All right, back off.
Yeah. Gladiator 2's Fred Hetchinger, Russell Crowe from the original Gladiator, if you remember him. Remember when he was a beefcake, real hunk? And Christopher Abbott, amongst others. This focuses on KRAVEN's complex relationship with his ruthless father, Nikolai Kravenov, that starts him down a path of vengeance with brutal consequences, motivating him to become not only the greatest hunter in the world, but also one of its most feared. And also probably the best set of abs I've seen in a very long time.
Long time, buddy.
You know, it's a wonderful job. But so give it to me straight, Shane. You are not only the person who looked forward to this movie the most out of probably anyone I know, but also probably our reigning Sony MCU scholar.
Yes.
Where we kind of went through this when Venom came out, that not many of these movies are good, bro. So why are you doubling down and hoping to God that KRAVEN the Hunter bucks the trend? What was the impetus for putting on the most anticipated?
Honestly, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, and the trailer just grabbed me. I'm like, I like the more hardcore rated R-ish Marvel entries into movies. And again, just the trailer that I saw, I know the character kind of from the Spider-Man series, but whatever. But no, just Aaron Taylor Johnson sold it for me. I like him, and I've been a big fan of his since Kick-Ass and Bullet Train. I mean, he's awesome. I love watching him, and I thought he'd be the perfect character to play, or actor to play this character. So I was all on board from the first trailer.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I don't know if he always is in the greatest movies, but I think he's always good. He's got that, obviously the looks, because he's been in the running, so to speak, for Bond. It seems, for years, and he obviously looks and acts amazing in this as far as like the athletic stuff is concerned. But what did you think of this one? Because this one is the relationship with his father is not the only thing that's complex. This is a very interesting script with a lot of characters, a lot of side characters that matter a lot, including like the Rhino as the villain and Ariana DeBose as Calypso. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why I went that. I don't know where that. Yeah, but you get it. It's a very tough Jamaican-esque.
Yeah, you threw me off there, man.
Yeah, I lost it.
It was like Brad Pitt speaking Jamaican and Meet Joe Black. Just you weren't expecting it.
Yes, child, me do that. But you know what happens. You try to like go for something, and of course my post-nasal drip is like, you're not doing that. That's not happening. You are going to start squeaking like a chew toy, so don't do that. But what do you think of this movie, man? It's getting beat up out in these streets. It's got a 5.4 on IMDb and a 35 Metascore. Not exactly lighting the world on fire. And weirdly, I didn't think it was going to do this bad as far as the box office was concerned. I mean, a very light weekend, including international. You would figure international, this movie would be an easy sell. It had an $11 million domestic opening. Currently sits at $26 million worldwide, and I think that went up a little bit from the weekend. So, not off to a hot start.
Right.
As we sit here on
the
Tuesday.
Budget was $120 million. I read.
Yeah, which is why tents get folded after you make a movie like this. And obviously, Madam Web did no favors and everything else. So but KRAVEN's just the last iteration. So, what did you think, bud?
Okay, so I need some space here because was this movie okay? This movie had a lot of issues going on with it, but what pisses me off, and I feel like I'm going to defend it, where I'm going to give this huge high grade. So just bear with me, folks. I firmly believe this should have been released before Madam Web, and before one of the Venom movies, and I don't think it would have done so bad. I think Madam Web and confirmation bias of the Sony Universe killed this movie.
Yeah.
Killed it. Because right now on Rotten Tomatoes sitting at a 15 or 16%, which is 1% higher than Madam Web. This is 10 times the movie Madam Web was. I'm sorry. Any way you want to look at this movie, it was way better than Madam Web.
Yeah.
I have a list of the precious MCU movies that people just like to gobble up that I would prefer to watch Craven over. So bear with me as I go through my short list. I actually did a little research, Andrew. You're proud of me.
I love it.
So I'm going to rattle off these MCU movies that I think, like, I know I would watch Craven before I watch any of these again. Thor 2, Iron Man 3, Guardians 2, Captain Marvel, The Marvels, Doctor Strange 2, Black Widow, The Eternals, Black Panther 2, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Ant-Man Quantumania. I would put Craven above that list of like 10 or 11 I just spouted out.
I can't ride with you that far. There's some on that list for sure, but yeah.
So that being said, I thought this was a good effort into this movie. I like the opening scene in Russia. I like how they started out in Russia in the jail cell with his Russian, native tongue. I liked Russell Crowe, kind of. I liked the dynamic, but the story was clunky. The writing, it felt like they were setting up in the writing, and we'll get into it, like with the brother dynamic and what character he becomes, and the doctor that performs the Rhino and the chameleon aspect. Like he's a Spider-Man, like he's in that universe. So, they kind of set up stuff that's not going to ever come to fruition.
Yeah.
Which could have been good. But I thought the action was good. I liked Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, they do a lot of foreshadowing in this movie. Like, what's going to come. It goes beat by beat. Like, he's going to get the Black Panther potion and all this stuff. Like, you see everything coming, right? But
right.
I liked the action in here. And I just thought it was a fun, entertaining film. Like, was it goofy at times? Yes. The CGI, and I'm being gracious here, was clunky. Especially like when he was, I wouldn't even say crawl running on all fours was very clunky and took you out of it for a while.
Yeah.
I thought the animals were okay. Like the lion CGI was okay. And we'll get to the rhino at the end because that was a disaster.
Yeah.
We'll get into that more. But I do like the kind of character that they set the rhino up to be, like the figure he is in the movie. Wants to take over his father's, Craven's father's business. I like that aspect, almost like a kingpin kind of aspect, like he's going to take over everything. The execution may have not hit home with that. That's fine. Then you get the foreigner in here, played by Chris Abbott, which I thought was maybe a little unnecessary. Like they didn't give him enough depth of character to really give a shit about. Like they just it was a one line throw, like, oh, he killed my mentor. And it was like the hunter kills the hitman. And that's all we saw.
Yeah, one newspaper headline. Who reads newspapers? Come on.
Right. I do like the flashback. I actually like the whole teenage, like him and his brother going on the hunt with Russell Crowe. I like that scene. And we did spend a little more time in that little flashback than I thought we should have. I wanted to concentrate on what Craven's been up to, like in the streets of New York, taking down some of these people. But okay, sure. They kind of glossed over that. We did get to like the Daily Bugle headline, which is another link to the Spider-Verse, right?
Yep.
But overall, I thought it was a decent movie. As far as like the Sony Spider-Verse, not that we have like a lot to choose from, but this is definitely probably their either best or second best movie in the Sony Spider-Verse, to be honest with you. But
I can't refute it because I haven't seen them all. But right, man, it's better that's a tough bar.
I know, but it's better than Morbius, and it's way better than Madam Web. It's better than Venom: Last Dance, and it's right there at the first Venom movie. Am I forgetting one? I don't think I am.
Well, I mean, just the three Venom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just felt like a lot of people, it's fun to jump on this movie and call it like garbage and the worst thing you've seen. And listen, I've seen a lot of clunkers. Andrew can contest to that. But like, is this like one of them? It's clunky for sure. But is it like, does it deserve like just the constant, like over the top bashing that this movie's getting? I don't think so. I really honestly don't.
I haven't heard a lot of people just like going to town on it because I think it's already like beating a dead horse, especially once they announce that like there's no more of these movies and you're like you said, they're setting up things that will never happen. And so it's already like he's already dead. Stop beating him already. But I will say I agree with you in some spirit. I will say that when he's rocking and rolling, there's some really cool action in this movie. I mean, I didn't take a ton of notes, mostly because I was just like, why? Which, I've done to worse movies probably. Yep. But the bear trap to the face was epic. Like at a part in the movie where it's like, that's probably the best we're going to get. When it's bearing down on him, you got all the villains in tow. You got the sidekick in tow. And they're out in the middle of the woods in his territory. That's when you knew you were going to get probably the best of what we would see. And that's probably true because once they got into the open air and fighting Rhino, that's when it became a CGI nonsense that was just deplorable. So basically these movies tend to fall into the same traps, especially like your Madam Webs and some other of these, where it's like their villains are never that strong. And there's always something with them, whether it's the CGI when they turn into something else or whether it's the actual backstory or something. There's always something where you're just like, ugh, with the villain. And as you noted before, a lot of the CGI, when he was like, say, scaling down buildings or anything that added extra elements besides just him being like up close and personal and fighting someone, was not great in terms of the look. But I mean, I have other issues. I mean, like literally the Calypso grandmother thing was like cartoonish, and it happened at a time where I was like all okay with this movie, and then when that happened, I was like, oh, this movie's not going to be good, is it? and it kind of went up and down from there. But I mean, to his credit, I think Russell Crowe got the assignment here. Yes. I think he really knew what he was. And I think everyone else didn't fully know what movie they were in. I feel like a lot of people thought they were in different movies. And Craven, especially like Aaron Taylor Johnson, I didn't get a sense for like his personality because he seemed like different people from like moment to moment, whether he's just like, oh man, he's this like hunter animal kind of guy. And then he's like, man, I'm like super chill in the club with my brother, and I'm like, and I'm joking and I'm doing whatever. I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't know. And even like the relationships between them, like the father thing kind of made sense, but the brother thing went back and forth. And I think that's because they knew like in the back of their mind, they had to mess with that dynamic later. So they just tried to like make it awkward and weird in spots between them. I think they never got their footing with that relationship, and that really caused some issues. So I don't know. It just seemed to go back and forth.
Yeah, the thing with his brother, you're right. Like at the very end, like he did that 360. You're like, well, where the hell did that come from? Like up until that point, like they had a solid relationship, and you understood where each of them were coming from. And all of a sudden, it was like, nope. Like, like I'm gonna change my mind. Like, the dynamic between them, you're right, didn't fit, and I felt like tonally they didn't know. Like, should we inject more humor into Aaron Taylor Johnson's Craven, or should it be more scaled back and more like like the Punisher-esque, more stonewall?
I would have preferred it, to, quite frankly.
Right, but they went between that line. They didn't establish. You know what I mean?
No, he definitely was a different person from relationship to relationship and almost scene to scene. And that's what kind of bothered me about it.
And I felt like they should have went the full anti-hero Punisher route, because they basically do the same thing. They have their list and they're just going to go ahead and just kill. Like it doesn't matter. So,
and in theory, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if they're setting up the Sinister Six and they have to end this movie on a more dour note, then fucking go for it already then.
Right. I did find it funny though, like his biggest fear, as we learn, as they, the foreigner gives him the old the scarecrow formula there.
Yeah.
It's spiders. Really, that's his biggest fear.
Which is never established.
It's never established, never said, never.
And they look
uttered.
terrible.
They look terrible, right?
Yeah.
So I laughed at that, right? Again, so not a perfect movie. I like some of what they I would like to see what was left out of this film and on the editing floor. Because if you remember, like from the trailer, that little torch scene where he lights it up in a cave or cavern, wherever the hell he is, his Craven cave, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never comes, like, that scene's not in the movie. That's not in the movie at all.
Yeah, I'm sure this movie got gutted, which is weird because this movie's still over 2 hours.
It is. Just, a tad over. But I agree with you on Russell Crowe. Like, I thought this was a solid effort by Russell Crowe because usually we see him in stuff that he just mails in. He's the fat guy now. He used to be Russell Crowe, and he just goes off by his name, And this one, he actually delivered a pretty solid effort.
Yeah, and he's been in all kinds of these type of movies too. I mean, even as recent as being Zeus in Love and Thunder. Was he in? What am I missing? Wasn't he in one of the DC movies or something too? Like it seems like he's been in the comic book realm multiple times. I feel like I'm missing.
He was in The Mummy as Dr. Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got franchise appeal. I just forget whether he was. I feel like I'm slipping something, but either way, I felt like he was good in this movie, and a lot of the chunk, like they had to kind of neuter him a little bit to make other characters rise up, and obviously he's not the focus of. He's the focus of the issues, but he's not the villain, and he's not even the sub-villain, but he is kind of like the main problem.
Correct.
So it's a weird script balance with that too, of course, because it's it's a classic comic book movie problem where they have characters they want to establish and things they might want to establish plot-wise for later, but there is no later, and these characters don't matter, and sometimes you take out a villain that you could have used later. So those are always interesting too.
Right.
Especially because I don't know is Rhino supposed to be a part of the Sinister Six? I always forget
They always have like interchangeable characters. It seems like to me, it just seemed like if I remember growing up, it was like Electro was like the mainstay. Dr. Ock was a mainstay. Green Goblin was a mainstay, I think.
Right.
And I think there were just 3. Like sometimes Mysterio, and then Kraven, I guess. Like the couple would be interchangeable. Sandman, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and then obviously whatever else they set up with this, with the complicated like Venom stuff or Morbius or. And then Madam Web's on kind of like a flip side of this. I don't know if she's supposed to be helpful. So,
supposed to be helpful.
Supposed to be. I don't know. I don't know what it is anymore. But so where would you? So you obviously have a strong feeling about like kind of where this ranks with either this universe or even going in comic book lore. I agree with you. This isn't like the worst thing. Madam Web is much worse.
Yes.
And I obviously don't have a deep relationship with the other films. I've seen pieces of Morbius that I never want to see again. So they all have their problems. I just think, ultimately, what do you think the legacy of this movie is going to be? Do you think there's going to be some reclamation of this, or is it literally just almost like how its release date was? It's just going to get like cast away and nobody will remember this ever again.
I think long term, no one's going to remember this. But I do think once it gets to a streaming platform, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, Netflix has the #1 movie that flopped. And all of a sudden, it's been #1 on the charts for 3 weeks in a row. I think it's going to do well on the streaming platform because I do think at the end of the day, if anything, it's entertaining for chunks of this movie and enough entertainment and action to at least make it a semi-fun ride, I guess, if you just unplug your brain. Or even if you're not I think this might appeal to people who aren't in the comics who just want to see an action film kind of movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson on it. I think it'd work at a better level. I don't know. The whole things I'm reading, it's just pissing me off for some reason. And I'm like, I really blame Madam Web for everything. Like that movie, I guarantee, and I don't know if you agree with me. Do you agree with me? If this movie came out before, if this movie came out February of last year as opposed to Madam Web, do you think it would perform better in the box office, or do you think it was dead on arrival after Morbius?
I think people would have given it more of a shake, myself included. Actually, I mean, like obviously I went and saw it, but like as far as enthusiasm for it, I think when they first started showing the trailer for it, it was like ooh. But then after all the other things in between, then you start to go, just release it already. Yeah. I'm done with this shit. So, yeah, there is a deflated attitude. So I think it would have had a better shot. I don't know. I mean, we've been talking about also like the comic book fatigue of things, but this is pretty low. I mean, this
That's
is
what I'm
like,
saying, right? I don't know.
It's what, a tad lower than Madam Web was?
It's on the Rotten Tomato critic is 1% higher than.
Oh, I meant money wise.
Oh,
like
money
box
wise,
office
it's
revenue.
lower. Yeah.
So,
it's like 4 million lower, I think, or 3, somewhere in that ballpark.
This feels almost like how the DCEU went out with a thud. Like, you know, like what was it, Aquaman 2 last year, where it was just like, we have no idea what this attachment is. This might be the last time you see Momoa as this, and we don't really care. Here's Aquaman 2. You know, it's like it has that feel. Except, you know, all due respect to Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's just not the star power of Jason Momoa, Nicole Kidman, and whatever else you want to throw in here.
Right.
So I don't know. And people still had a thought of like, oh, maybe Aquaman remains in this universe. They don't know, you know. But this, I think, whether it was going to have more or there was going to be more movies of this universe, I think people are already done with it. Like, they just didn't care.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm more sad that with that announcement, they also were like, by the way, all the rumors are true of Spider-Verse's third movie. It's not coming out in 2025. We'll see you in 2026, probably.
Right.
So, Sony, you know, who probably really needed that Spider-Verse movie to come out to kind of collect, you know, and fix all the debts of all these movies that didn't quite work out in the like 3 movies in a year that didn't. I mean, Venom's box office still is strong.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that makes up for some of it, but not all of it. I mean,
basically, just the Venom movies made money. Like all 3 of them made money.
It's
and
true.
The 3 non-Venom movies didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is the desperate attempts of a studio that was like, remember when they re-released Morbius because they thought it was getting all that attention from like the memes and trashing it online, that they were like, oh, it's been reclaimed as like this, you know, kind of like so bad it's good cult thing or whatever. Let's re-release it in theaters, and nobody went. Like these are the people who just don't get what the hell this is. So yeah, it's a sad way to end it. How would you score it, my friend?
You know, I'm going to inch up on this one. I'm going to give it a week 3 for me.
Okay.
In a perfect world, I'll give it a 2.75, but I'm not going to give it a 2.5. I'm going to go with 3.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. It's a 2 for me.
It's okay.
Yeah. Which again, a step up from the 1 or half that was Madam Web, but it never locked in. And even like for the action that I thought was pretty good, I mean, half of it was like CGI garbled. So Ariana DeBose, you know, while she's not in it a lot and not everything makes sense with their relationship or how these things flow, but she was good for what she was, I guess, you know? So I don't know. There's not a whole lot for me to like wrap my mind around that I'm going to, you know, think higher of it. So yeah, it's a tough one.
It's all right.
But you already know my thoughts on the next film here, Carry On, which came out on Netflix over the weekend. My review on what's on Netflix.com. If you want to read my full thoughts on this one, are available now. You've read my thoughts as well. This is the new airport thriller, insert Die Hard in an airport or whatever you want to call it kind of scenario. Brought to you by director Jaime Calais-Sera, maybe, probably something, who has done a lot of stuff with The Rock. He's also done stuff like Orphan. He did multiple movies with Liam Neeson in his latter stage stuff like The Commuter, Nonstop, etc. So this is the next level on that, where this puts a mysterious traveler who blackmails a young TSA agent into letting a dangerous package slip through security and onto a Christmas Eve flight. The young TSA agent being played by Taron Egerton of, you know, Kingsman series, playing Elton John and Rocketman, and being in the excellent Apple miniseries, Blackbird, that we've covered on here
Yes.
as well. Playing the heavy, the mysterious traveler, is Jason Bateman, playing out of type here, being more of a, sinister guy for hire type of person. Sophia Carson's in here, Danielle Deadweiler, Dean Norris, Logan Marshall Green, which I believe is one of your boys, right?
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Little discount Tom Hardy.
I was about to say, I thought that's what you called him. So I figured that was like a compliment coming from you.
Yeah.
Now, this movie's getting like kind of mixed results. I'm curious from you. As I said, my thoughts are out there. I think it was okay. Ended up giving it a 3. I think, its best attributes are when, kind of Bateman in the shadows, him kind of demanding him, gun to his head, kind of that mid part of this movie, probably like 20 minutes in until when the, third act goes. Once it becomes more of an action movie, I was less interested. I don't think they carried it as well. Once the plot started to get into like political stuff or what this was really about, I didn't care. So there was a lot of that for me. I thought it ended well enough, and it was fine how it goes. But as far as the Die Hard on a whatever franchise, I think it pulled its punches a little bit because it was PG-13 and it wasn't the kind of like blood and guts shootout of like a Die Hard. It's not the intensity of a phone booth or any of these other ones that they compare to. It doesn't have the kind of on cocaine Hopper version of a villain here like Speed. So it's kind of just a tick below quality of any of those type of movies is where I landed with it. Where did you go with it?
Yeah, this was a fun movie. I really got into this movie a lot. The best parts of this movie are probably the first 2 acts, like you were saying, but the back and forth between Egerton and Bateman kind of like just draws you in, especially Bateman, just
did you like him dropping that register?
I did. But the voice in the ear throughout the whole time worked for me. The cat and mouse game and it's just the whole manipulation of everything. I really dug it, man. I really like this movie. But, I saw the whole Die Hard. This is not anywhere close to Die Hard. This isn't even, like, I know they said it on Christmas, but it's not, please. It's not. You wouldn't even know this was a Christmas if they didn't mention, like, Christmas Eve. Like, you got to work here on Christmas Eve. Like, they didn't mention it whatsoever. Like, you wouldn't even know. So let's get the whole Christmas thing and Die Hard just out of everyone's minds, because this is not even anything close to those films or Christmas movies. So let's not debate
that's
that.
Netflix's fault. It's in the trailer with like Christmas music.
I know it's ridiculous, man. But no, Egerton and Bateman carry this movie. I really like it, but I disagree with you a little bit. Like the third act, I felt like, all right, there's no really place to go, and I was still in it. I didn't care what the plot was. Like you said, it went all political with the senator or whoever's trying to get the bill passed or whatever. I didn't care at that point, right? I just want him to get the disarm the biochem bomb on the plane. Like how's he gonna do that? I thought it was a very smart movie with as well written wise between the two. I liked it. I had now.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Danielle Deadweiler, who plays the LA cop, she was okay, right? Now the scene that I applaud the thought process and the idea of the scene. It's with
the highway scene.
Yeah, the highway scene with her and discount Tom Hardy there. Yeah. They have a tussle in the car, and I initially liked the idea of where they were trying to do the camera angles from, because that was kind of unusual for me to see that, like a fight going on as you're hitting cars back and forth and the people like going through the seats. But it just wasn't executed well. Like the execution flopped. But again, I do like the setup and just the idea behind getting that kind of footage, fighting off. And I did
go back and watch him try to choke her.
No, I was about to say that. Like,
it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, that looks like it was a weak take, and they were just like, "Yep, we got it."
I didn't say I liked the choking part, right? Because they're both hanging there. You're right. It's like all of a sudden he reaches out his left hand and like just like it felt like he just
she's barely moving, like because she can't or whatever.
And like he barely places it on her throat. It feels
Yeah.
like he like I'm gonna hold your hand, like that's it.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly. Yeah,
you can't raise an arm to get that off. That seems like it's not even locked in. You know what I mean? There's no iron claw going on there. It's just like there. That was really bad. But everything before that, I do like how they're ricocheting off that. I really did like the effort. They just, again, the execution really just fell flat on that. But I at least applaud it for.
Can I tell you the worst part about it, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is because you and I are old enough to know what that scene looks like if this is 1996. And it's a just because you can, should you moment for me with that. Because I thought it looked so fake, and it had no depth, no focus pull, no nothing. It was straight, brightly lit, like it was the most perfect, like a computer wallpaper. It didn't look like reality. And when they would shift back and forth and everything else, nothing looked right because it was all even to, like, everything was in perfect focus. Everything was in perfect light. That's not how fucking reality looks. So it looks so fake. And then I kept thinking, I'm like, all right, well, yeah, well, that's because you're trying to do this CGI move. It's the type of move. I'm like, no, it's really not. Because if you think of a movie like Speed, right? Like, or if somebody's in a car, you just play with the angles. You have something get knocked over. They're fighting. You're down. You're up. You're this. You could go from different parts of the car. But because they wanted to make it look like the car flips over and does all that, and they did it all in one take because it's supposed to be, oh, man, look how cool that is. It's stupid. Stop this shit just because you can, or that's what you have with a green screen and whatever mechanism you could do. It looked stupid. Go back to basics, have them just have a little tussle, someone knocks a gun out of their hand, goes down, shoots from different angles, make it a tussle, and have one quick jab into the fucking median and go from there.
I'm going to towel you off, buddy. You see it towel off.
It literally took me out of the movie. It took me out. It was such a... You know.
It did take me out for a second or two. You're right. But I didn't hate it as much as you did.
It bothered me a lot. And obviously it carried on throughout the rest of the movie because I thought the best stuff was behind them by that point, I think.
It was. But still, I think the action at the scene when he's running, trying to get the luggage in the whatever, that part of the airport they're on, I was fine with all that. Like that, again, that was fine. I'll tell you another weak link in the movie was Theo Rossi. I don't know what it is with this guy.
He does have some weird slants on characters. Yeah,
he's not good. Like,
I know, he's in a lot of action movies too.
He is. I don't know if they're just miscasting him. I just feel like he should play like this tougher guy, a tough guy, not a techie guy. I don't know. Then the whole mustache.
Yeah, that didn't work for me.
His voice bothers me. It's like the old young Mark Wahlberg, where it's like he's. I don't know. Like, talk like a man. I don't know. Like, he bothers me, and he bothered me. He took me out of every scene he was in this movie. Yeah. I'm like, why? Like, why?
Yeah, it's a weird character that, like, he's supposed to be expert level, whatever, but he basically does a lot of nothing until that one scene.
To the one scene. But I agree with a lot of what you said. It's not Phone Booth. It's not Die Hard. But for like a Netflix action flick this time of year, I was all in, and I had a good time in this, basically because of the two leads in this movie. Yeah, so
sure.
I love Jason Bateman. I love him, and this was just like a darker tone, but he still had that, like, I was ready for him to bust out like the sarcasm from like Arrested Development. I felt like he was walking that line, you know, like, but he never went light.
Yeah, I think he didn't know what to do because he probably was like, oh, if I go this direction, I'll sound like my Ozark self.
Yes.
If I go this way, I'll be my, like, kind of, you know, sarcastic sitcom-y self, you know, or comedy self. So I think he kind of just wrote it medium and calm, trying to be like, I'm above all this a little bit. And I think it worked better, again, when he was the voice. He could shout commands. But once he started doing stuff where he's, like, trying to, like, I know you and get to know you and talk about, like, your childhood or this, like, I can examine you. It's like, all right, this doesn't work for me anymore.
Right. But a lot of stuff did click for me. So in the end, I had a good time. I really did enjoy this movie. I go a smidge higher than you in your 3. I'll give it a 3.5.
Which is not crazy.
No.
I mean, and you know what? This movie reminded me when I was kind of going through where it lands in the rankings for my Netflix movies for the year. It's not too dissimilar from how I felt about Axel F.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, the difference is literally just Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Like, because you have a built-in character who a lot of people like, and he's hamming it up to make it lighter than it was. Otherwise, you know, has a lot of the same attributes where it's like, this is where it does what it does best. This is where you get lost in it. And you could probably say Bateman's better than Kevin Bacon at times.
Yes.
Because they more knew what that character was enough. Gave a little more screen time too. So, but yeah, I felt it was like kind of in that same vein. So I think they're like listed right next to each other. In fact, I think I put Carry On like neck and neck or slightly above. It's the same rating. So, you know, I don't know, it's my number 13 Netflix movie of the year, which sounds probably worse than it is.
Right.
But it's right in that. Listen, I mean, they haven't had many standouts this year, Netflix.
Correct.
But there's been a lot of like good, like solid movies. Not that I want to run down my list for anybody, but like, you know, movies around Carry On are like Beverly Hills Cop, Scoop, Joy, like good movies, you know, that are all just solid for what they are in that genre. Good.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not a knock. So, yeah, it's a 3. Let's do a little speed round, buddy, because we're getting a little long in the tooth, and I don't think anyone wants to hear the rest of my voice going on.
Well, before I get into you want to talk about The Good Deed, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that where you're going? Okay. Before I get really into The Good Deed, I would like to show 30 seconds. I did catch up on Kneecap, which you saw and you talked about previously.
That's right. That's right, yeah.
I will say I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
I'm glad.
I was riding with it. I agree with everything you said about this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of this latter half of the year for sure. It's like transpotting parts, like The Commitments almost. You know, like I loved it. So good on you. I'm glad I saw it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. And I highly recommend that on Netflix.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. I will volley back at you. How about that? Well, we'll get to Good Deeds. I'll run through these real quick. I caught up with Last Stop in Yuma County, which I've been meaning to watch for, 6 months, it feels like.
Right.
Whenever you first put it out there. Definitely a movie that is up my alley. Jim Cummings, a lot of good people in this movie. A tight little indie flick that, you know, I thought was a little more simple than I thought it was going to be. Just for the fact that, like, it's literally the last stop in Yuma County. It's a gas station that ran out of fuel. It's the last stop for 100 miles. So you get this collection of people all in one diner, part of which is these bank robbers who, you know, have to get more fuel or get another vehicle or what have you before they can get away. And then everybody's kind of in there and all are packing heat, apparently. So shout out to Yuma County and your loose gun laws. But yeah, it's a nice little movie of like just setting the tension, adding different layers, you know, of like what would you do next? How would you act in this scenario? And then, you know, it kind of ends in a weird spot because I think for a movie that gives very little attention to Jim Cummings for a long time, him to be so much of the end was a little weird, and I didn't feel earned, I guess. So it's not going to be, you know, in different hands. This might have been, you know, like say if this is a Coen Brothers movies, there's way more layers, way more characterization, or even the people who try to rip their style. I think there's a little more to it. But I thought it was a nice, simple 3. I thought it was very watchable, and I think, you know, nobody's bad, and I love a good, one location
Yep.
practically the whole movie. I love those kind of intimate things where you're just kind of getting this joculating back and forth between who has the power, who doesn't. But for a nice little small town movie, I liked it.
Yeah, I think I ended up giving it a 3.5. So yeah, we're right there. Yep.
Yeah. I also caught Red One, which you had done previously, because I was figuring, I went on Saturday night to go see live a screening of Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin doing a Q&A afterwards. It was like this whole event. He's got a tour going with it. So it got me in the Christmas mood. So I was like, you know what? Next morning, I already had a cold. I was like, forget it. Let's just go on the couch, watch Red One. It's on Amazon Prime. It's not as bad as like everybody made it out to be, I think. But it's also not good. So it's kind of like right down the middle. Like, actually, I thought it had more Christmas than I remembered you saying. Like, I at least like, a little more like, we got to save Santa, and we got like the stuff between Chris Evans and his son, I think, add a little more like Christmas spirit or being good. This whole point of what they're doing, I thought that had enough Christmas spirit or whatever, the Miracle of Christmas kind of stuff going on. But there's a lot in that middle that is just like, whew, how long is this movie? So like, it's a lot. It's probably more effective. I think if I saw this in a theater, and especially if I plunked down money and everything else, I might have been less forgiving to this movie. But I think it's fine. It's like a 2.5 at best, probably, 2.25 if you really want to like, I'd love to do that. But, it's a weak 2.5 at best.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5. I told you the CGI was you talk about clunky CGI. The CGI in this was very clunky.
That whole beach scene is pretty brutal. Like the snowmen, the ice queen, whatever, frost queen, whatever,
yeah.
Witch, not queen, witch. Yep. Frost, yeah. So her doing stuff from afar because she could hear her name from anywhere apparently. And then Nick Kroll just taking a paycheck for a few minutes,
yep.
And it's weird. But yeah, The Rock and Chris Evans are fine together. I thought that was okay, and yeah. It's got such a good cast. It's hard to fuck it up, but like, at least to make it like real bad. But it's not good either.
Right.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Especially at home. It's fine. Don't go seek this out in the movie theater. It's not worth like the bigness. The budget is not going to wow you. But before I get to my last couple things here, like, tell me about No Good Deeds, because this was like a big show with like big, TV heavy like stars in it that is on Netflix that is obviously going to do gangbusters because people are just going to see Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow and have it even be remotely linked to true crime, and people are going to go for it.
Yeah, and they should. I didn't even really know this show existed. I saw like one thing for it coming out Friday night, and like Saturday I'm sitting around recovering. I'm like, I need something to watch. It was like 35 minutes an episode, and I finished it by Sunday morning. So
nice.
There you go. I'll just read the synopsis because this is a very layered, twisty show, and if I like try to go into details, it would definitely. I don't want to spoil anything for you.
It's that kind of show.
It's that kind of show. Basically, you have in this, the first episode sets this up perfectly. It tells the story of three very different families vying to buy the very same 1920s Spanish-style villa that they think will solve all their problems. So to run down the cast here, you have a very cleavage-heavy Linda Cardinelli. And when I mean cleavage-heavy, it's very cleavage-heavy.
Okay.
OT, I can't pronounce his name, but we just saw him in Presumed Innocent. He was a DA.
Right.
OT, yep. You have Dennis Leary, Lisa Kudrow, Tiana Paris, who's Miss Marvel or one of the Marvels, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you have Luke Wilson. Those are like the big names, and you get some character actors you'd recognize as well. So you got Lisa Kudrow and Ray Romano trying to sell this house because they're just trying to get it off the market. And you got all these families vying for this house. And there's a reason why they're selling this house. And that's where this kind of plot dissolves into its own. And then you get like each character or each family has their different. This show does give good like understanding of where all the families are coming from. They don't certainly tie into like the main plot point of the Cujo Romano situation, but it does. It's a cool tie-in to as the show runs along, and they kind of run together. But man, this show is so bingeable, and it's labeled a dark comedy, which it is. I think Dennis Leary's great. I kind of miss seeing him on screen, and Ray Romano, who I haven't seen really in a lot lately, was good in this as well. And I'm not a big Lisa Kudrow fan, and I really enjoyed her in this one as well. This is done by the creator of Dead to Me, so if you like that show, it's a good. It's not as dark, I would say, as Dead to Me, and maybe not as funny at times as Dead to Me, because I just think Cardinelli and Applegate had that like perfect chemistry for that show.
Yeah.
But for like just a one-off series to watch, man, this has everything you want, and it is twisty and it is funny. I love Luke Wilson's character, and he plays like an ex washed up soap opera actor who's married to Lisa Cardinelli, who's like spends more than they have per se, and she's like the very bougie neighbor in this. But Luke Wilson's probably the funniest character in here. But man, I'm telling you what, the writing's really tight. It keeps you guessing. It's 8 episodes. It's a very, very, very quick and bingeable show. Not quite in the level as Dead to Me, but like definitely one step below. So I would highly recommend it. I don't usually give ratings to shows. But I'd give it a solid 3.5 to 4 in that range. You know, if you need something snappy, quick, and fast, it's right up your alley.
No, it's great. I am way more intrigued now that you said the runtime, because I could bang that out in a few days. Although it would take away from, I'm sure you're very proud of me, I started Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
So I am. I know you've been high on that for most of the year, so I'm gonna
try to
bang that out.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, because it came out real early
in January.
In the year. Yeah. So I am trying my best to get on that train. So I just started that. Not even finishing the first episode yet. I'm new.
Okay, good.
So I'm doing my best to try to do a little cram session for the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm glad to hear that one's a positive experience. Real quick, before we get out of here, A Different Man. I watched this. I was really looking forward to it. Another movie that I was like, I love Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. I've loved him in other things before. I've heard really good things about this. They even say Adam Pearson, the guy who has the actual facial deformity, might even be in the Best Supporting Actor situation going forward in Oscar season. So we'll see. This is directed by Aaron Schimberg. It's about an aspiring actor who undergoes a radical medical procedure to drastically transform his appearance, but his new dream face quickly turns into a nightmare. So basically, it's a weird, twisty thing of, I'll get to why, but I thought about, everybody's seeing like where the facial deformity and trying to fix his face and all these things, people think instantly great double feature with The Substance. And they're not exactly wrong. But this is less body horror and more identity stuff and with a twist. So I actually had Amelia Perez a lot on my brain when I was watching this too, because it's Sebastian Stan starts the movie where he has a facial deformity, right, on his face. And he's trying to make it as an actor. He's trying to, he becomes friendly with his neighbor, has this like kind of almost like budding relationship. And then something happens to where he goes through this medical procedure, like a, rare test or whatever. And basically the whole deformity kind of like almost like falls off his face. And he looks like Sebastian Stan underneath. And what happens is people don't recognize him. And he takes advantage of it. And he essentially says the other guy died. And this I'm me. I'm this guy called, literally, he calls himself Guy. And what happens is that neighbor he was getting so chummy with, she's a playwright. And she writes a play about her poor friend Edward, who was his real name, who passed away.
Oh, no.
And had all this thing. So he tries out for that play, and initially they're like, "What? We don't think you're right for this." And it's like it's based on him. So it's kind of like weirdly dark, a little humorous with that or whatever. And then once he actually gets the part, then this other guy who has an actual facial deformity comes in and starts wowing them, and then slowly pushes Sebastian Stan out in the movie or in the play about his life.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting plot. I liked it. I hung with it. But this movie, I think it overstayed its welcome a little bit. It ended itself multiple times. And so it kind of lost me by the end. But I think everybody's really good. And Sebastian Stan's having quite a year. And I want to applaud him for taking all these risks, especially like in the post-Marvel world of it all. But I don't know. I think this movie, I wanted it so badly to be like a 4 or above. But I think it's more like a 3.25.
Okay.
Like it kind of came down on me because I was just like, kind of spinning his wheels. But I thought it's a great swing. But I think it's probably, for me, a little overrated with how it's been winning things and being up. I like the performances. I like the thought of it better than the execution. So.
Right, which has been a running theme throughout our show today.
A little bit, yeah. But like I said, it reminded me a lot like Amelia Perez, how like there's this kind of this, obviously getting the transformation to his more authentic self going on as Amelia Perez instead of this, drug kingpin. So, but he kind of felt it was okay to move on in Amelia Perez and thought that she could just leave everything behind, and she couldn't. And it's this kind of like hard thing to deal with and ends up costing her, and that she just couldn't move on, and she got into so much trouble with it. This is very similar where he's like, he takes this opportunity to kind of like leave his old self behind and start anew. And then everything about his old life just keeps popping up and driving him crazy and just ruins his life. So it's an interesting back and forth, but also obviously people are going to be like, the substance with the, the body horror and also wanting a new and better self and all these other things. Yeah, I can draw those parallels too. So if you like all those movies or if you're at least interested in that stuff, it's definitely worth watching. I just think it's not as strong as I hoped, especially landing the plane.
Gotcha.
So, but good job by you, man. We tackled a lot of stuff. I recently just watched Joy, too, if you want to watch the Birth of IVF movie with Bill Nighy and Thomas and Mackenzie. That's well worth watching. I would just watch that on Netflix, too. So that's a solid 3.25 kind of a movie. Very informational, great topic. So, get on in there if you like that kind of stuff. Next week, it's going to be a coin flip with that one because we got Mufasa and Sonic 3. That is the bigger movies coming out. So that's not really our bag. So we'll figure it out in terms of how we're all going to get through. Maybe we'll catch up with a little TV stuff and do that. So be sure to come back next week for more recent activity.